Whew. Here we are. All right. So this is a YouTube to help cover some ground that Nicole and I feel is important to cover that we just didn't get in the Collaborate session. So we've been meeting a little bit. First off, let me just say, I think Nicole, I speak for Nicole when I say that this is an exciting year and that we really are enjoying our time as instructors working with you around the topic of quantitative research. So Nicole, we have some tasks that we want to get through, so you feel free to jump in here as I'll start in and correct me or add to things. So the first thing is that we're obviously need to adjust your due date for your combined lit review and methods section. And so you can see here that we have moved that to October the 25th at 3:17 p.m. And if you are past October the 25th at 3:17, if you submit it at 3:18, the only way your group can get full credit for that project is if we like through indulgences, right? So this is the 500th year of the Reformation, right? So remember it was a reaction against the Catholic Church and indulgences. So we'll take indulgence, we'll take money to offset. No, we won't do that. 3:17 is the deadline. And then Nicole, I guess we'll have to also then look at where the other deadlines are for the results and the discussion and the discussion section of the paper. But I think we have time to work on that. Sure. So now some of you then are wondering, well, okay, October 25th, thank you for kicking that can down the road. But what is it that we have to do between now and then? And that kind of takes us to our next spot in here. And so, Nicole, you have here resources and strategies. And so you want to pick up the piece on this?
Sure. So as you're working in your groups, likely what will happen at this stage is you'll kind of divide up. So if you have 4 people in your group, perhaps 2 people will work on combining the lit reviews together, and the other 2 people may tackle the methods section, and you'll kind of, come up with strategies, deadlines within your group to work towards the overall deadline, so everyone has time to edit and contribute, and you'll likely have some group meetings. So that's probably how you will go about working on this task. And then as far as resources, we strongly recommend referencing your writing empirical research text. We've talked about before how that's a really good reference for you, in particular as you're structuring the methods section of your paper. Absolutely, you want to look at that book. And we also have uploaded some example papers that you can look at as a guide. It's helpful when you see how other writers have constructed their papers, and so look at several examples. So those will be, those are under course resources.
Yep. Then under examples of faculty publication research.
Okay.
There's at least 3 articles that you can see there, and consume those articles and consume them and see, how did we write our lit review and our backgrounds to set us up for the methods section and the questions, as well as then what are the nuts and bolts that are in the methods section. Yeah, and so I think it's really helpful just to read other papers and see how people string together their jargon and their language and kind of make it all work on that. I also think too, Nicole, that let's just again say there's 4 of you in your group, and so 2 of you decide you're going to focus on the lit review, and 2 of you are going to focus on the methods section. That does not mean then that the methods people should never read the lit review, and the lit review people should never read the methods. You should have some point where I think you're involved in reading each other's work and learning, because if you just stay in the lit review and you don't focus on the methods, you're going to have a deficit of information that, from not having that experience. So I think that even though you may focus most of your energy into these subgroups, you do need to read each other's work and ask yourself, oh, that's what goes into a description of the participants in the study. Oh, this is what goes into describing the instrumentation and things like that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, good.
Oh, I was just going to say, and related, I know several people have been asking about the page limit or approximate length for these sections of your paper. So around 6 to 12 pages for the combined lit review portion. And then your methods section will likely just be 2 to 3 pages. Has a lot of important information in it, but it's a shorter piece.
Now, I just had a thought on that. Could the methods, since we're talking about an instrument, and we're talking about like the MMPI, if they could, the methods section could end up being a little bit longer. There's kind of, I think, an editorial choice on where, like a description of the instruments sometimes goes in the methods section, but sometimes if the instrument is very front and center to the research, it ends up being in the lit review too. And so, again, I think all the articles we have will help the students, if they read them, kind of puzzle that out, I think, and figure out where that goes. That's kind of and so then I think the last thing on our agenda here that I see is we need to come alongside of you. Both Nicole and I need to partner with your groups, and we need to do that quickly to help you organize this and to get familiar with the data set and help you refine those research questions and really think about what is it that you're going to get when we run the analysis, so that you can kind of reverse engineer a good methods section. So we are going to release a Google Doc that will have some times on Mondays and Tuesdays. So Nicole and I have come up with some suggested 1-hour blocks of time, and we'd like you to sign up for those blocks respectively. So if Nicole is your point person for the two groups, and meet with her, and the same with my groups. So Monday and Tuesday of next week, and coming out of those meetings, I would hope then that everybody would have a good understanding of some of the major things that they need to be doing in moving things forward. That won't be the only time we meet with you. As a matter of fact, Nicole, I think that likely the methods people will require extra consultation with us, because they're the ones that are trying to wrap their minds the most around the data set and the research questions and the statistics and so forth that'll follow out of that. Anything else you can think of?
Let me double check my list. I don't think so. Just add that, and it's, even though we might not have a meeting scheduled until next week, I'm always happy to answer emails if you have questions after this YouTube or anytime.
Okay, so before we close this video, I want you to think of an odd number between 9 and 12. Don't tell me what it is. An odd number between 9 and 12. Do you have it?
I have it.
11.
No.
What?
Oh, wait. Oh, shoot.
Do you see what I have to work with here, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, yes, that was the number I had in mind.
All right. That couldn't have ended better. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.